Hey there friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Marie here. Today I'm making a slimline card with a starry sky ink blended background, and I'm using some of the slimline dies from scrapbook.com. So here I have my slimline card front. I'm going to grab some of my oxide inks and this domed blender from scrapbook.com. Now the dome foam blending applicators are a dome shaped, so they're a little bit curved on top, and this is kind of nice when you're ink blending because sometimes you can get those harsh edges from your foam ink blenders, and with that curve in the dome it kind of helps eliminate that a little bit so that you get sort of a smoother ink blending. It also doesn't pick up as much ink because just the domed part of the foam applicator comes in contact with your ink, and so you're not wasting as much ink as well. So these are a really great option if you like to ink blend, and I thought I would use this today to just go ahead and ink blend a starry sky background. So for my background, I'm using lots of blues and purples. So I'm starting here with my oxide color Tumbled Glass. And I normally kind of zip through the ink blending process because it is just a lot of blending. I go back and forth quite a bit with all of my colors because ink blending does take a little bit of time. You do want to make sure that you get your ink on there, you're blending it in. It takes a little bit of elbow work, elbow grease, and it does take a little bit of time. You do want to be patient with your ink blending. So today I'm just kind of showing you my ink blended background in real time. I'm not zipping through it. I'm just letting you watch it. If you want to skip ahead, I will put timestamps down in the description if you want to skip ahead the ink blending and move on to the rest of the card. But if you like to see the ink blending in real time, I left it in here today. So after the Tumbled Glass, I'm coming in with my next Distress Oxide ink color, and I believe this is Mermaid Lagoon. There's so many different blues, but I believe I chose Mermaid Lagoon. Now you can kind of see that with my domed ink blender, I'm leaving some lighter areas. So I came in with my light blue, I left a few white areas, I came in with my darker blue, and now I'm coming in with my purple. This is Seedless Preserves. And I'm trying to get some darker areas and fading out into lighter areas. And this is really going to give you a nice starry sky or a galaxy, whatever you want to do. But I thought this would be really fun with the Stars Slimline die from scrapbook.com. And when I do my galaxies or my starry night skies, like I said, I just kind of build up the color. So I start with my lightest color and then I work onto my darkest color. And once I have my dark color on, I go back to my light color. You can kind of see how the edges here aren't blended all that well. I'm not worried about that just yet because I'm going to go back with my lighter colors, but I do want to get my dark areas on and then go back and work out the blending. So my darker areas are going to be mostly on the outsides of my card, around the edges. I'm going to have it come in a little bit, but you can see sort of in the center there on that one side, I'm leaving quite a bit of white space, and that's just going to give the illusion of some bright light over there and just a really fun starry sky. So you may have noticed I'm using the same domed ink foam blender for all of these colors. I started with the lightest and darkest, contaminate my ink pads at all, but now that I'm moving back lightest color, I am going to switch that foam applicator, and I do have these other foam pieces here on the bottom of my Distress Oxides already. I have tons of extra foam applicators, and I usually just grab one to go with the color that I'm using. And you can see that I had this one with the color that I usually normally use it with. And the way I like to store them on the bottom of my ink pads is by taking some of those Velcro dots. They're self-adhesive Velcro dots. You can usually find them in the sewing section. I just stick one of those on the bottom of my oxides, and then I can stick my foam to it. Since the applicators, your foam tool grabs onto your foam pad, with Velcro. The Velcro is just a perfect solution to keeping your foam pads onto your ink pad. So I hope that all makes sense. It's early morning here while I'm doing the narration, so I'm kind of rambling on, but foam pads stick really well to your ink pads with those Velcro dots. So that's just a little storage tip for you. So I'm pretty much done with my ink blended background. It still looks a little bit choppy, but I'm not going to go and waste any more time on it. I'm going to go ahead and make some splatters. I find that once I put the splatters on, you kind of don't notice the choppy edges as much. So I'm using some of this sparkle silk from Fun Stamper's Journey. I'm taking my scrapbook.com glitter brush pen, and I'm picking some of that up and I'm flicking on lots of shimmery splatters, and this is looking like stars in the sky, and it's really so pretty. Now this sparkle silk doesn't take long to dry, but when it dries, it is really sparkly. You can see it shining in the light here as I tip my card front. So I'm going to let that dry a little bit while I wipe up the ink and all of the sparkle from my background. And then I'm going to go ahead and die cut this panel. So here is the Slim Stars Slimline die from scrapbook.com. That's a mouthful. And I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. Now I'm using my larger Spellbinders machine and this extended plate, this extended magic mat from scrapbook.com, because slimline cards are a little bit longer than your normal 6-inch die cutting machine. Now you can put them through your die cutting machine. You might have one edge just slightly hanging off, so you would want to run it through and cut it and then turn it and cut the other side that needs to be cut again. But I'm using this larger machine that I have, so I can go ahead and cut it on one pass. And I really love using my magic mats. It gives me a great cut, and I like how a lot of these tiny little pieces just kind of stick to the mat, so I don't have to worry about trying to find them everywhere. But I do love this die for the reason that it has all of these stars that you can pop out so that you get the background, and you also get some fun star confetti. So I love these little pieces of stars, and to get them off of my magic mat, I just take my craft scraper tool and I'm going to scrape them off. This makes it really easy to pick them all up quickly, and I'm going to put them into a little dish and put them off to the side. Now I do have some little embellishment jars that I'm going to store these stars in so that I can use them for shaker cards and different things in the future. And you can see how they're kind of flying around here from all of that static cling. So I thought that was really fun. But I'm just going to scrape them into a dish right now because I'm going to use them later on the card as well. So I'm going to set that aside and save those stars. And I just really think it's fun how you can get a background and some confetti out of that die. Now I have the nested slimline dies. These just cut out different sizes of card bases or card layers for your slimline cards. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out a card base here. I went through and I die cut that as well, and that's going to be the background to my background that I just did. I'm going to put some of this white paper behind my stars, and it's basically white paper, but it has a little bit of pearlescent shine to it, so it's going to make those stars shining through a little bit more shiny. You could go ahead and use a different color in the background, glitter paper, whatever, and then your stars would be colorful or glittery shining through. But I had a few other things that I wanted to do with this card. I didn't want the stars to be too overwhelming, so I put some pearlescent paper in the background. Now I'm putting some glue on the back side, and I'm just going to line it up with that white paper there and just glue it together, and just completely glue these two layers together. Now, it would be really fun if you wanted to put some foam adhesive on the back and make this into a shaker card, have lots of different confetti and sequins shaking around behind those stars. I think that would be fun as well. I just decided to go simple today and just glue it to a card front. I'm adding this big ink blended moon, and this is a stencil set from Spellbinders. You can add it's a layering set, so you can go ahead and ink blend a moon. I went with some really light gray, and I'm taking this sentiment from another Spellbinders stamp set to go with this moon. And I picked the Dream Big because we have some graduations coming up, and I thought this would be kind of a fun and unique graduation type card. I'm taking some of these really small strips of adhesive from scrapbook.com, and I'm putting them behind my sentiment strip. I love these really skinny pieces of adhesive for sentiment strips. They just make it so easy to apply some to the back of your skinny strips and then add them to your cards. I'm also adding a little bit of liquid glue because part of my sentiment strip is going to be on that moon, which is popped up with foam adhesive, and the other part is going to be kind of hanging off the edge. So I wanted to make sure that that height was even all the way across and it had some good support behind it. So I'm mixing both my liquid and my foam adhesive. Now to finish off my card, I'm adding some more stars. You can see I've got some gold stars here. I went and I cut that background out again with some gold cardstock just so I could have some more stars. So I used some of that gold cardstock to have some gold stars. So again, I think this background is really fun to play with, making a starry background or just cutting out some star confetti for different projects. It cuts out a ton at once, which is something I love because I just love to sprinkle those stars all over my card fronts. Now once I get these stars on here, that's really going to complete the card. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Tap that bell for notifications so you don't miss another video from me. Subscribe if you haven't already. Comment, share, and just do all the things. I will catch you guys next time. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.